Why your brain can't stop overthinking. The psychology behind overthinking. Imagine your brain had one job: keep you safe. Now imagine it accidentally became so good at that job that it started protecting you from problems that don't even exist yet. That's overthinking. It feels like you're solving your life, but your brain may actually be creating the very anxiety it's trying to prevent. And once you understand why, everything starts making sense. Because here's something most people never realize. Your brain doesn't care if you're happy. Its first priority is survival. If it has to choose between keeping you calm or keeping you alive, it will always choose survival. And that's exactly where overthinking begins. Thinking itself isn't the problem. In fact, thinking is one of the greatest abilities we have. It helps us learn, plan, solve problems, and avoid repeating mistakes. Overthinking is different. Instead of moving you toward a solution, it traps you in a mental loop. You replay the same thoughts, ask the same questions, imagine the same outcomes, yet nothing actually changes. It's like running on a treadmill. You're using energy, but you're not getting anywhere. So why would your brain keep doing this? Because uncertainty feels dangerous. Our brains evolved in environments where missing a threat could mean death. Today, most of us aren't worrying about predators. We're worrying about relationships, career decisions, money, health, or what someone meant by a single text message. But your brain reacts in surprisingly similar ways. When it doesn't have a clear answer, it keeps searching. It believes that if it thinks just a little longer, it will finally find certainty. The problem is, life rarely offers complete certainty, so the search never ends. And the more uncertain you feel, the more your brain convinces you to keep thinking. Here's where many people get confused. Not all overthinking is the same. Psychologists often describe two common patterns. The first is rumination. Rumination keeps pulling you into the past. You replay conversations, relive embarrassing moments, wonder what you should have said, or blame yourself for mistakes you can't change. The second is worry. Instead of looking backward, it looks forward. Your brain imagines everything that could possibly go wrong. What if I fail? What if they leave me? What if I make the wrong decision? Different directions. The same trap. Living everywhere except the present moment. Now here's one of the biggest tricks your brain plays on you. Overthinking feels productive. It feels responsible. It even feels intelligent. After all, you're trying to prevent mistakes. But thinking isn't the same as solving. Imagine trying to untangle a knot by pulling harder and harder. Eventually, you often make the knot even tighter. Overthinking works the same way. The longer you chase absolute certainty, the further certainty moves away. So what usually starts the cycle? Relationships are one of the biggest triggers. A delayed reply suddenly feels meaningful. You begin analyzing every word, every emoji, every pause at work. You replay presentations, second-guess emails, wonder if people judged you more than they actually did. Mistakes become another trigger. Your brain keeps replaying them, as if repeating the memory might somehow rewrite the past. And then there's the future. Career choices, money, health, family. The more important something feels, the more tempting it becomes to search endlessly for the perfect answer. But your brain has another habit that makes overthinking even worse. It relies on shortcuts called cognitive biases. These shortcuts usually help us make quick decisions, but sometimes they quietly distort reality. One is catastrophizing. A small problem suddenly becomes the worst-case scenario. Another is mind reading. You become convinced you know what other people think, usually assuming it's something negative. Then there's confirmation bias. Once your brain starts believing something is wrong, It begins collecting evidence that supports that belief, while quietly ignoring everything that doesn't. Without realizing it, you start believing your thoughts are facts. They're not. They're simply your brain's best guesses. And sometimes, your brain guesses wrong. So how do you break the cycle? The goal isn't to stop thinking. That's impossible. The goal is to stop believing every thought deserves your attention. The next time you notice yourself overthinking, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, am I solving a problem or simply repeating it? That single question creates distance between you and your thoughts. Another powerful strategy is taking one small action. Not because action magically fixes everything, but because action tells your brain, we're handling this. Even a tiny step is often more helpful than another hour of thinking. Mindfulness can help too, not by making thoughts disappear, but by teaching you that thoughts can come and go, without needing your permission or your participation. There are also a few myths worth leaving behind. Overthinking doesn't necessarily mean you're more intelligent. It doesn't guarantee better decisions. And thinking longer doesn't always produce better answers. In many situations, clarity comes after action, not before it. One important thing to remember: overthinking by itself is not a mental disorder. Everyone overthinks sometimes. However, persistent overthinking can occur alongside conditions such as anxiety disorders or depression. If it's affecting your relationships, sleep, work, or daily life, speaking with a qualified mental health professional can make a real difference. So remember this: your brain isn't your enemy. It's trying to protect you. The problem is, it can't always tell the difference between a real danger and a frightening possibility. The moment you stop treating every thought like a warning, you give your brain permission to do something it was never designed to do on its own, to let go. And sometimes, the most powerful thought is the one you choose not to follow. If you enjoy understanding how the human mind works, subscribe to Psychology Clicks, because every week we explore the science behind thoughts, emotions, relationships, and human behavior. The better you understand your mind, the better you understand yourself.